Hello, guys and gals, and this is a book review. I don't do book reviews very often, but I decided to do a book review. This is a book review for Daniel X. Watch the Skies. Um, anyways, this is a book by James Patterson and Ned Rust. Now, I will start by saying that I haven't read very many of James Patterson's books, except for Zoo, which I read on a long cross-country train trip that took about 20 hours. Um, and I don't think I've read anything by Ned Rust. So, anyways, one of the interesting things about the Daniel X series is that it is six books total so far, I guess. Anyways, and there's always a co-author or a guest author. Of the six books, there are four different authors. Ned Rust wrote the second book and I believe the fourth book, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so, two books and also the manga, I believe, were written by Ned Rust. I'd have to double check, though, because I don't remember who wrote the manga, but I'm pretty sure it was Ned Rust. Anyways, so yeah, Watch the Skies. So, the second book of this particular series finds aliens invading a town called Holliswood. And now I'm not sure if Holliswood is basically based off of a real town. Usually in the Daniel X series, the cities are basically based off of real cities. So I imagine that Holliswood does exist, but I'm not exactly sure. Anyways, strange things are happening in Holliswood with electronics going haywire and basically people losing their minds or doing very strange things for no apparent reason. Because apparently, number 5 on the list of alien outlaws on Earth, number 5 likes making. He's like an influencer, I guess. He likes making movies or movie producer. And so, yeah, he makes all of his own shows, but usually the actors in his particular shows, they don't usually survive. Usually they get liquefied or, they meet a very nasty end. But yeah, they mentioned this book kind of deals with some rather dark topics. And there are quite a few deaths in this book, but usually by people that aren't really poignant to the story. So yeah, is this a scary book? Not really. I still wouldn't say this one was very scary. So anyways, we meet up with Daniel X because he goes to Holliswood because he basically is looking to defeat number 5 of the evil aliens that are basically, they don't really have the best intentions for the planet in mind. And there are some people or some aliens on the list that basically want to see the planet destroyed. So it's Daniel's job to basically defeat number 5, who is basically some kind of alien catfish creature that has mastery over electronics, and he can manipulate people's minds and really not very nice stuff. So that is an all new challenge for Daniel X and his powers. His powers are basically he can alter his body, he can transform into different things. He can create things out of thin air. Oops, sorry about that. But anyways, he's basically a friendly alien who's basically an alien bounty hunter that's hunting evil aliens. I guess that is kind of the easiest way to say it. Um, as always, his mom and dad and his sister Porkchop, he can summon them at will, and when he summons them, then everyone can see them, and they are basically, real. And there's also Willie, Dana, Joe, and Emma, his best friends. He can summon them at will also, and they are real. And so they always help him out. Otherwise, he'd be pretty alone because he's a 15-year-old and basically an orphan because when he was 3 years old, um, number one on the list of alien outlaws on Earth, went and killed his parents. Tried to kill him, but he was clever and got away. So his goal in life is to defeat number one on the list, but he has to work his way there. So he's at number 5 currently. Because number 5 was currently the biggest threat. Basically, number 5 is known for entertainment because he ends his actors. And usually the people that take part in his productions don't do so by free will. He mind controls them. So yeah, he does some pretty despicable things. Anyways, this one basically people were being manipulated by electronics, by their phones, their computers, stuff like that. And I think that is part of the point that the authors were trying to get across is basically people's reliance on computers, the internet, mobile devices, and stuff like that. And I can see that. But yeah, very interesting. I really like this book. It was very well written. Um, Again, I wasn't really familiar with the authors before. I wouldn't really say I was very familiar with James Patterson, having just read one of his books, and I really wasn't familiar with Ned Rust at all because I had never heard of them prior to this. Um, I don't know if I'll actually go into the story of how I discovered the series in the first place. Um, 16 years after it came out, because I did that in the previous video, the previous book review. Um, it should be, if you go to the book review playlist, it should be the one that's before this one. I go into detail about how I discovered this particular franchise, this particular series. But yeah, I will say that if you haven't seen the first one, the first book basically put the series, basically affixed the series, the Daniel X series, at number 5 of basically best series I've read. We'll see if that goes up later on. We'll have to see if it actually gets any higher with any of the later books. I think it's fitting that the first book be, kind of like the pinnacle of the series because it basically introduces everything. But the neat thing about the series, or this series in particular, is you don't really need to read the books in order. You could basically read them in about any sequence. I would say that you would need to read 5 before 6, but otherwise you could read the books in any sequence. Though you might want to save 6 for last because it is technically the last book of the series. But otherwise, you could read the first 4 in any order because they do a really good job of explaining all of Daniel's powers and stuff like that. Anyways, but yeah, a lot of weird things are happening around town. People are vanishing, and so it's up to Daniel X to find out what's wrong. and what's going on. Of course, with the help of his friends. Anyways, I found this to be rather ingenious. The franchise itself, the series itself, is really amazing because it is very well written. Also, it is intended, I guess, as young adult reading, I suppose. So it is written in a very simple format, and I like that. I don't mean that in a bad way either. Um, I found all the concepts easy to grasp, which is good. As I said in, I think, the previous video, the previous book review, um, this the book deals with rather complex themes, but it's written in such a way that it's easy to understand, and it's really hard to pull that off. It's very hard for, or it's kind of ingenious the way that the author is able to basically write simplified, which is really really good. Um, I found myself understanding what was happening, and it really made the book go fast. The chapters are really small. I don't remember exactly how many chapters there were. There, I think there was around 92. Again, 92 chapters, and that might sound like a lot, but some of the chapters were like maybe a page, and so you really felt like you were making progress. The book was really well paced, I thought, um, and at no time I was never bored. I mean, there was always something happening, and I really liked the writing style itself because even if they were talking about something complex, you could actually understand it really well. I mean, if somebody else were to write a book, or if the book were more directed at an adult audience, I think the concepts would probably be written differently, and I probably wouldn't have been able to grasp them because I think that if the book was directed at someone older, they probably would have used different wording. Or see, if you're not writing for kids, then well, if you're not writing for kids, then you're probably writing for adults. And sometimes writing styles can be complicated. Just because you understand something, and if you try to explain it to somebody else, then you might confuse them. But in this instance, there wasn't any of that. I mean, they could have been explaining nuclear fission, and they probably could have gotten the point across better than someone writing a textbook. Um, I don't know if that made any sense or not. Sorry about that. But anyways, this book was ingenious, and I think that it continued the Daniel X legacy very well. Um, but yeah, um, again, as always, number one comes into play. Number one on the list is, you know, the big bad antagonist. That is like the overall antagonist above all others. And so, yeah, he's gonna basically at least show up in one way, shape, or form because of just because of how imposing he is. Again, I think that the antagonist and the protagonist were balanced really well for each other. Um, and that's important because I mean, if your if your protagonist is Superman, then you're going to need an equally evil or an equally powerful antagonist. Otherwise, it gets boring because I mean, if Superman is up against like a normal human, then hey, all he has to do is like fly the person away to jail. That's why Superman battles supervillains because if he was just up against mortals, then where's the fun in that? Daniel X, even though he has all these amazing powers, is still mortal and usually in some kind of peril, which I think just adds to the charm. Actually, um, you never know how. Daniel is going to overcome all these problems that keep popping up, and usually it is in ways you would never expect. So you need to expect the unexpected. But yeah, anyways, a lot of things really happen that were really interesting and surprised me. Um, but yeah, um, this was an amazing book, and I'm glad that I read it. Um, just amazing. Um, anyways, I hope that I've managed to convince you to check out this book, the second book of the Daniel X series. Um, it's a book that I am very fond of, a book that I enjoyed reading. Um, and so, yeah, trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. I guess there isn't, except to say that if you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe, ring the bell so you know when I upload. Also, if you want to support me in any way, or if you want to join the Discord server, all the information will be in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone. You are loved, and have a great day.